Welcome everyone to the second episode of the BIC's Themes of Conflict podcast. Today we are here with Mr.Marc Otte. Mr. Otte is the Belgian Special Envoy for Syria. He is also the Vice President of the European Institute for Peace and the current President of the BIC. We are here today to discuss the future of Europe, especially regarding recent developments from the European elections' latest results, Brexit, geopolitics, and environmental challenges. So we will attempt to cover all of these themes in today's conversation. So, Mr. Otte, with the new European Commission's president creating a vice presidency tasked with migration issues and associating it to protecting a European way of life, what do you believe are the new prospects of this Commission's appointments?
There are two things. There's the populist vote that indicates that indeed this European way of life, whatever it means, is something that is a concern of European citizens. And the second is the green, the success of the Green parties, the fact that the environment, the climate change is becoming a real preoccupation of Europeans. I note en passant that another good news of the European election is that more people voted in this election than in previous ones. And that it has created a new political landscape, definitely, where these thematic issues become more important for the citizens and that they think it is not addressed properly by the European institutions or their national governments.
Thank you. So let's come back for a second to these new trends that emerged from the latest elections. So nationalism and environmentalism. How do you believe Europe is set to reconcile these two tendencies?
The emphasis that Mrs. von der Leyen put was on the three vice presidents. One is for the green agenda, the second is for digital Europe, and the third one is about the economy. These are three things that are indeed important for the European Union to make progress on if Europeans want to remain relevant in the current world. If you allow me, I would also underline that beyond being the three main issues that are indeed central to further European integration and development and the place of Europe in the world, is that there is also more demand for gender balance, and there is a commission now where gender balance is almost perfect. You have also the affirmation that this is a geopolitical commission, not only a political commission, but geopolitical, meaning the place of Europe in the world has become very important in view of the current disorder.
Definitely. So geopolitically precisely, do you foresee any major changes in Europe's positioning towards the three superpowers, so namely Russia, China, and the US, especially considering that Brexit is pushing that talk again for the creation of a new European army on the behest of Germany and France?
Well, first of all, on the European army, I don't believe that such a thing as a European army can exist. The army defense is a national prerogative. What I believe is possible is that countries realize that they can integrate more of their efforts in security and defense policy. And the central point is not a European army, is about designing the right tools to defend the security and the way of life of European citizens. So it means that one has to pay attention to the fact that security risks are not the traditional ones of a country invading another, but I mean countries undermining the political process or undermining the structures in other countries. And with cyber war, with terrorism, with non-state actors playing a role. And therefore, yes, definitely Europe has to move to a higher speed in their relations with with Russia, with China, and the United States, as you underlined.
As you clearly observed, the world is polarized, but Europe is also polarized, perhaps more than ever since the creation of the Union. So how can the European Union reconcile between states that are pro-European integration and other states that are more protectionist, like certain countries of the Visegrad Group or Italy, for instance?
There's a sense of being second-rate members of the EU, where different national governments, especially the big countries, decide in their place what is good for them or not. And that can be corrected if the Commission is indeed retake the leadership into further integration and further equality between member states. If you look at the composition of the Commission, there's clearly more balance between the East and the West, between the North and the South. And that is, I think, the first, another element where the new head of the Commission has chosen to go. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the responsibilities that some of these commissioners have, it's clear that there's more attention to people from the Visegrad Group, but also from the South.
So you mentioned the various challenges or security challenges that the European Union has been facing and is still facing. And considering its geographic proximity to numerous active conflicts, do you believe that the European Union should take a more proactive stand on regional conflicts, namely Syria and Libya?
My conviction has always been, you're strong inside, you're stronger outside. This sort of quid pro quo, it's showing that you have the instruments to not impose, but at least to convince the others that your model is worth looking at, is very important. Like the other one we discussed is leadership. Who's going to bring that about against headwinds, where what's happening in Europe and what's happening in its neighborhood has indeed a circular effect on each other. When it comes to Syria, definitely there was not a unity to lead in the name of Europe. The former colonial powers, UK, France, didn't allow the European institutions to be a major political player in Syria. And when it comes to Libya, some political powers in Europe decided in a certain period of time that Gaddafi had to go, but then nothing was prepared to replace the regime. For me, fundamentally, besides all the details, you could talk about the arms sales, you could talk about the energy problem, the real problem is leadership.
Thank you for your time and for sharing your expertise with us, Mr. Otte.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us today. Please do follow us on our social media, so Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and make sure to check our website for our latest publications.